I'm going to show you two videos. I was wrong about both of them. The first one I thought was AI generated. It's not. The second one I knew was synthetic, but I wanted to see if a physics-based system could catch it when the motion looked convincing.
This is ANA, Authenticity and Narrative Analyzer. It doesn't use neural networks trained on fake examples. Instead, it measures something generators structurally cannot reproduce: thermodynamic continuity, the signature that continuous physical reality leaves in every authentic video. What you're about to see is what happens when three independent expert passes, physics, visual analysis, and synthesis, reach different conclusions, and what it takes to resolve them. Case 1. A high-motion dance video. To the naked eye, the lighting and movement feel almost too perfect, so we let the math take a look. This is the ANA orientation analysis, the system's first attempt to map the physics of the scene. 1. The space-time peaks. This is the space-time intensity map. Each peak represents a moment of significant kinetic change. It tells the system when the most important action is happening. We don't just scan the whole video equally. We hunt for the moments where the physics are under the most stress, where the acceleration is highest. We see the heat map. The red and yellow zones identify where the motion is concentrated. In this case, it's locked onto the dancer. This isn't just a motion sensor, it's an entropy detector. It separates the subject from the static environment, ensuring we aren't fooled by a still background. 3. The cyan box, the focus region. Notice the cyan box. This is the action location. The system has automatically isolated this specific volume of space for a deep forensic scan. By drawing this boundary, ANA ignores the irrelevant noise of the driveway and focuses its microscope exactly where the dancer's hair and body interact with the air. 4. The bottom panels, the temporal slices. The bottom panels are the slices of truth. These are frame-by-frame extractions from within that cyan box at the exact moment of peak motion. Here, we look for biological integrity. At 60 frames per second, we are checking if the hair strands maintain their physical identity or if they start to smear and morph, the classic signature of AI generation. 5. The physics suite, pyramid and V-stack. Finally, we run the bilateral physics suite. You'll see charts for pyramid jitter and V-stack drift. These instruments measure thermodynamic asymmetry, the tiny invisible stutters in how pixels move. In this video, these sensors actually threw warnings. Because the motion was so violent, the math looked chaotic, almost synthetic. But ANA doesn't stop at the math. This is where Pass 1, the scene logic critic, comes in. We take these noisy results and reconcile them against a full-resolution visual analysis. We ask, is the noise caused by a machine's imagination or by the raw, messy reality of a human moving through space? Here's where it gets interesting. The physics suite ran. Our bilateral instruments measured kinetic continuity and thermodynamic asymmetry. Pyramid jitter warnings appeared. Some V-stack drift above normal thresholds. If you only looked at the physics, a standard classifier would say synthetic. But then Pass 1 runs. The AI scene logic critic. An independent visual analysis at full resolution. No physics scores, no bias, just watch every frame sequentially within the region of interest and tell me what you see. The artificial intelligence as critic examined every element. Water bottle position, consistent throughout. Garage door panels, all consistent. Shadow behavior, moves naturally with sun position. Hair physics, individual strands with weight and momentum. Facial expressions, genuine changes. Skin texture, natural variation. Anatomical proportions, constant across all frames. Fingers, correct count in every examined frame. Clothing, wrinkles and tie strings move appropriately. Environment, no drift, no reset. Mundane and stable. And the conclusion? Nothing here triggers my fabrication instincts. The physics work. The continuity holds. The face is consistent and expressive in natural ways. Confirmed contradictions? 0. So now we have a split. Physics said, maybe synthetic. The critic said, no contradictions. How do you resolve it? That's pass 3, synthesis, the reconciliation layer. The rule is simple. If either independent pass finds confirmed contradictions, authenticity fails, period. But when the critic finds 0 contradictions and the physics reading is weak, uncertain, not definitive, both passes converge on authentic. The verdict? Authentic live footage. Confidence, high. This is a real person, real dance, real phone camera. I was wrong. The system was right. And the reason it worked, why it didn't rubber stamp the physics or ignore the critic, is the 3-pass architecture. No single layer defeats the whole. Case 2, an AI-generated news anchor. Full 1920 by 1080, professional lighting, low motion, static speaker in a chair. This is the hardest case to catch, because generators have been trained specifically to pass motion-based detectors. Watch what happens. Different space-time signature immediately. The when motion happens chart shows concentrated peaks, head turns, hand gestures, mostly static. The region of interest centers on the face and upper body. Bottom panels, the peak frames. Notice the detail in the eyes, the skin, the paper on the desk, the clothing. Now the physics suite runs. And this time the physics says, lean authentic. Net score plus 26. This looks real. The motion profile fits. Kinetic continuity is present. If we stopped here, if we only had the physics, we would call this authentic. We would be wrong. But pass 1 still runs. Full resolution, every frame. And the critic finds 7 confirmed contradictions. 1. Hair physics frozen. The hair doesn't move with the head. It's static, then suddenly repositioned, then static again. 2. Paper behavior impossible. Paper exists in some frames and vanishes in others. When it exists, it never interacts with the hands. 3. Expression cycling metronomic. Watch this. The face cycles through the same 3 or 4 expressions on a timer. Real expression change connects to thought and conversation. This is animation. 4. Eyes non-tracking. The eyes don't follow the direction of gaze. They're placed but don't track. 5. Skin texture waxy. At full resolution, the skin has a uniform matte quality. No pore detail, no fine hair, no microtexture variation of real skin. 6. Environment static and non-interactive. The background never changes. Real rooms have reflections, shadow interactions, subtle depth. This has none. 7. Watermark metadata. The video itself is labeled AI curated content and avatar. 7 confirmed contradictions. What you just watched is not a confidence score. It's not a probabilistic guess. It's 3 independent expert passes. Physics, visual analysis, synthesis. Reaching consensus or failing to reach it on a simple question. Does this video contain evidence of structural impossibility? The physics suite measures thermodynamic asymmetry. The critic measures object state coherence. The synthesis rule says, if either finds disqualifying evidence, authenticity fails. Here's what that looks like in practice. When we measure the delta coefficient of variation across a forensic population, authentic videos on one side, synthetic on the other, we don't get 2 overlapping bell curves that a threshold has to split. We get complete separation, 10 times order of magnitude, 0 overlap. Authentic terrain clusters tight, near 0. Synthetic map spreads wide, 4 to 6 times higher. There is no ambiguous middle, no gray zone where the classifier has to guess. The signal doesn't distinguish authentic from synthetic. It separates them. No single generator capability defeats all 3 layers. A generator that masters motion physics fails at object state. A generator that masters object state reveals itself in the bilateral instruments. A generator that defeats both exposes itself to full resolution visual analysis. The only way to defeat all layers simultaneously is to solve continuous physical reality, which is exactly what the generators are trying to fake. We're in a critical 18 to 36 month window where this advantage holds. After that, generators may close the gap. That window closes. But the time to act, to establish this as a standard, is now. Right now, this signal has zero overlap in our calibration data set.